the West, whereas in Indian they occur in approximately 4% of our population. NUDT 15 genotype variation is more common in Asian and it occurs in about 8.5 to 23%. In Indian, it happens in about 15%. So if we have the result as wild type, then we start with the normal dose. If we have heterozygous result, then we start with 50% of the dose, and if it is homozygous, which is very rare, we don't use the drug. Now, there are different guidelines for pre-treatment TPMT testing. So IIG task force in 2000, at that time this was headed by Professor B.S. Ramakrishna. In that it said that if available, biochemical and molecular testing for TPMT can be done prior to initiation of therapy. AGA in 2017 guidelines say that in adult patient with IBD being started on azathioprine, AGA suggests routine TPMT testing to guide the thiopurine dosing. Now this recommendation was based only on 3 studies and it was a low quality evidence. And as we can see, many clinicians actually do not use these guidelines because they are based on the weak evidence. So what do we do in clinical practice? We have two options. Either we can preemptive do TPMT and NUDT testing, or we can start with a small dose which may be 25 milligram or 12.5 milligram. Irrespective of the strategy, we need to monitor CBC weekly for 4 weeks, and we also need to be aware of the medical legal aspect if the patient develops toxicity and we have not done this test. Let us now move on to thiopurine metabolite testing, which is done after starting the drug. And we know that azathioprine takes about 2 months to start acting, but testing can be done as early as 1 month. So in thiopurine metabolite, we test 6 Tg and 6 mmP, and the therapeutic range for 6 Tg is 235 to 450, and for 6 mmP it is less than 5700. As per the American AGA guidelines in 2017, thiopurine metabolic testing should be done in patients who have active IBD on treatment with thiopurine and in those where there is a suspected thiopurine toxicity. It should not be tested in patients who have quiescent IBD. So let us understand this. How do we interpret the thiopurine metabolite reporting? The first row here shows 6 Tg level, which is 235 to 450, which is a normal range. 6 mmP less than 5700, it is a normal level. So this indicates normal level and optimum drug level. Now if both 6 Tg and 6 mmP are undetectable, that means there is non-adherence and we need to improve the compliance or adherence. If both the levels 6 Tg and 6 mmP are less than the normal, it is a subtherapeutic range and we need to increase the dose. If 6 Tg is high, more than 450, then this is a supratherapeutic dose and we need to reduce the dose if the disease is stable, or if the disease is active, then we need to change the therapy. The last one is interesting. 6 Tg is less than 235, that is subtherapeutic, whereas 6 mmP is higher. So these patients represent shunter to 6 mmP. That means they preferentially shunt the mechanisms, and 6 mmP is high, so hepatotoxicity is more likely, and we need to reduce thiopurine by half and add 100 milligram of allopurinol. So if we compare subtherapeutic level of 6 Tg with therapeutic level, we can see that there is a 40% higher rate of remission if we optimize this drug. So this is our data, 272 patients, 314 samples. We can see that subtherapeutic level was found in more than half the patient. So this gives us an opportunity to optimize the drug. Also, supratherapeutic level was found in 16% of our patients. Thus, it gives us a scope for reducing the toxicity. Now let us have these two case studies. This is a first case, which is a 29-year-old patient with Crohn's disease since 2017. He had repeated abdominal pain, occasional vomiting, and increased bowel frequency. His baseline stool calprotectin was more than 1800. Our highest range in our hospital is more than 1800. C-reactive protein was elevated. In August 2017, initial treatment was done with 5-ASA. We are aware that in Crohn's disease it may not have much role, but many people still use 5-ASA. So on that, he had intermittent pain, which was significant. In October 2017, for this persistent pain, he was initiated on budesonide 9 mg with azathioprine 25 mg. His TPMT was wild type, which was normal. NUDT 15 is heterozygous, so we need to start with less dose. His body weight, however, was high. So we can see this. In January 2018, he was well. Calprotectin came down. CRP was negative. But to our surprise, his 6 Tg and 6 MMP level were undetectable. That means patient was not taking the drug. So he was told to start the drug. Azathioprine was made 50 mg and budesonide was decreased to 6 mg. So this patient's probably effect or he was well because of budesonide. Then after that we can see that he was well. Calprotectin came down, CRP was negative, so budesonide was reduced to 3 mg. But on reduction of budesonide to 3 mg, he started again having abdominal pain and vomiting. CRP was high, so budesonide was increased to 6 mg. The next month, he had abdominal pain and we did the levels. The levels were subtherapeutic, so azathioprine was increased to 75 mg. His counts were normal. So after that he remained well. Calprotectin slowly came down, CRP was negative. So budesonide was reduced and stopped, and 5-ASA also was stopped, and he was maintained on azathioprine 75 mg. The second patient is a 51-year-old male with ulcerative colitis. He had active disease on oral and topical 5-ASA, and calprotectin was high. His pre-azathioprine TPMT was wild and NUDT 15 was heterozygous. He was started on azathioprine 50 mg daily and was asked for weekly CBC. After 2 weeks, we can see that hemoglobin dropped, WBC dropped, and platelets also dropped. Fecal calprotectin normalized. So his thiopurine metabolite showed a high level of 6 Tg, 851, when normal is, upper limit of normal is 450. So his azathioprine was reduced and CBC improved. Thus, TDM can be used to optimize thiopurine therapy and reduce the toxicity. Now let us move on to biologic agents. So we know that biologic agents have brought a paradigm shift in the management of IBD. However, we know that significant number of patients do not respond or they lose response. So after 1 year, as many as 50% patients will not be on the same biologics. So we have guidelines for therapeutic drug monitoring in for biologics. So for the first guideline came from AGA in 2070, and at the similar time we had multiple guidelines from ACO, 25 expert panel guidelines, Australian, Canadian and Swiss Society guidelines. They all said reactive TDM, and there was little difference of opinion about proactive TDM. So then recently in 2021, we have the expert panel guidelines on TDM, and 10 IBD experts have made these guidelines based on Delphi process. So according to them, reactive TDM should be performed in patients with confirmed primary non-response and secondary loss of response to anti-TNF therapy. When performing reactive TDM for secondary loss of response to infliximab and adalimumab, the treatment discontinuation should not be considered unless the drug concentration is adequate. This is very important. Very often patient has lost response, we tell them to stop mainly because of financial reason. but we need to know that second biologic will be more difficult to manage. So we have to have adequate concentration before we call it quits. About the proactive TDM,